There is the sad reality that a lot of us will face where you feel undervalued at work. Most people go to work because it's a chore. They go to work to pay the bills. They have 9-to-5 jobs to look after the families. Most people don't love what they do. When it comes to Friday, it feels like there's a relief. And you can keep doing this every year up until you retire. And you're retiring after putting in hard work, feeling undervalued, and many other things that will come with working for somebody, especially in an environment where you don't feel valued or you don't feel like you've reached 1/10 of your full potential. And talking about myself being an immigrant in a foreign country, I feel like this is even worse. There is this thing of unconscious bias, and unconscious bias can be found in several circumstances. But more and more, I discovered that sometimes people do this with no reason. They don't even realize. Let me tell you guys something that happened to me. I worked in the higher educational sector, and the environment I worked in, very few people looked like me. Okay. There was this day that I decided to stay at work late and work till, about 7. That was the same time that the office gets cleaned. Mind you, I dressed formally to go to work, okay? So I was not dressed like in trainers and trousers. I dressed like I was at work. And while I was getting on with packing my desk to go home, I was just cleaning my environment. We were hot desking. This is post-COVID, so we lost a lot of space. And this lady who was hot desking in my place, I think she was new to the business. I'd seen her only once that day. She came my way. She came in and she's like, "Oh, I lost my earpiece. If you clean and you see my earpiece, can you please let me know? This is my number." So at this point, I was washing my coffee cup to drop it off before I went. And I said, "Excuse me, what? I don't understand." She's like, "Oh, if you're cleaning." I said, "I'm not a cleaner. I work here." She's like, "Oh my goodness, darling, I'm so sorry." And the look on her face, I felt sorry for her, because when you've been caught in a way that you can never recuperate it, you can never change that first impression. And when she said that, I said, "Oh, that's fine. It's okay. That's okay." I just thought, speaking to the wrong person. The cleaner is right in the toilet, because she came about that time. So this lady had finished work, left, came back because she forgot her expensive earpiece or her earbuds or whatever. She spoke to security and they said, "Oh, go in. The cleaner is cleaning now." She came into the office, met me, and because I was in the kitchen washing my cup, when you're so full of yourself, nobody else matters. Everybody else kind of pales into insignificance. So they're very self-absorbed. She didn't notice me, in the office. But when I said to her, I'm not, she said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was told the cleaner was cleaning." I said, "The cleaner is, I think, in the other room." And she went and told her that. At that point, the next day, guess who was my meeting? This lady. And guess who had to boss her around to do something was me. She came like a junior project manager. And she's working on one of my projects, which I was leading on the commercials. She walked and she met me, sat down there, and she started apologizing. I said, "Don't apologize. It's fine. I'm sure it was a clear mistake." But this is a good example of when people have unconscious bias because of how you look. She probably doesn't have a problem with my color, but because of the pre-programming of what they expect us to do when we look like this, it clouds the judgment, a better judgment of who the person is. And I'll say this: let nobody make you feel less of yourself. And let the society not dictate where you think or where they think you're meant to be placed. I say this because a lot of times this kind of very subtle or covert, digs or comments could sap all of your confidence. The fact that I'm there, it means that I'm worth it. If you are somehow too naive to understand that because of the way I look, because I'm a black woman, I cannot work in that environment, the more fool you. I'm saying this because it affects us in several ways, not only at work, not only as an adult, even kids. Let me give you another example where there's unconscious bias. When my little girl, who is now in high school, when it was time for Christmas plays, she always used to joke to me and say, "Mom, please don't expect anything." I said, "Oh, have a lead role because you're very smart. You can, keep words, you can talk." She's like, "But Mom, I'll never be Mary." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because Mary is always a white girl. I cannot be Mary." When she said that, at the time I think she was in year 4. And I slept that night and I kept thinking, my goodness, my 8-year-old, I think she was 8 at the time, already understands, or she was 9, the dynamics of what her color brings to the table. And that's when I keep asking myself this question, that when we come to this part of the world, how do we expect our kids to start feeling like they're good enough when the society has already put them in a box for several reasons? When we come here older, we already have thick skin. We can manage a lot of that conditioning and bullying. But when these kids come young, it's harder to explain or to understand why they don't get the opportunities everybody else gets. And unconscious bias you can see it everywhere. I did a training at work called bystander training, or something about bystander training, where they showed us scenarios of people in trouble in a train station. If you've ever done this, please let me know in the comment section. And it was really funny how in a crowded train station, somebody collapsed, but because he was dressed looking very rough, everybody just went past him and nobody stopped to look and ask if he was okay. This was obviously acted, but it was a real life scenario. And the next to them, or the next day, similarly down the road, somebody dressed properly, a lady, a white woman, dressed well, similar situation where she kind of passed out and everybody ran coming to save her, to help her. And it tells you that our minds are so conditioned to what we believe. And it takes a lot, if you are on the receiving end of bias, to feel like you're worth anything. And I'll always say that what we can do is educate our kids. If we are migrants and we are different, we are not white Caucasians, we have a different ethnicity, let them understand that there's 2 things to this. They have to not only be good, they have to be outstanding at what they do, so that there's no excuse for them not to have the opportunity that they need. And second, I always say to them, don't also use it like an excuse, because you know that you're better. And when you stand out, not only better, when you stand out in excellence, when you are an A-star student, it will be so hard for this bias to show. Even in sports, when you give it and you're doing really well, yes, you might have kickbacks, you might have setbacks, and you might have challenges, but eventually what happens? Your talent, your hard work will shine, and you'd always, reap the benefits of what you've worked hard on. So this is just to say that if you are at work and you feel like you've been asking for training and everybody else is having it but you, for no reason, when it comes to your turn, it's turned down. There are opportunities to progress at work and you never get asked. So even if you get asked, it's a futile effort, because you will not be promoted. You always have an excuse. If you don't value me, somebody else does. If you don't know your self-worth, nobody else is going to know it for you. If you don't put yourself right up there in terms of value in any company you work for, you'll constantly be chasing your shadow. And I learned immediately that no setback is the end of the road. everything that happens is to make you resilient and make you better. So if you're listening to this, is just a very short inspirational video that I just felt to share, that if you are in a job that you feel undervalued, please do something about it. You can always look for something better. Don't quit. Look for something better, because just down the road, there might be a job which is 5, 6, 7 times better, which will boost your confidence, which they'll value you, which you would make strides just making that move. Don't stay in a job and feel like you're stuck. That's like Stockholm syndrome. Don't stay in a job because you feel like everywhere is the same. No, you're worth better. And when you know your value, you would push yourself and value yourself higher than they're giving you. I hope that this inspires somebody today. It's just a very quick short video on what we face at work, the bias that we go through, and how to make it not knock your confidence. They don't know who you are yet. The world is not ready for you. Be confident and remember that whatever the society labels you has nothing to do with who you are. You are how you value yourself. And knowing this and spending enough time with yourself to understand your value and your key selling points will help you in life, because you will face people who will tell you no. A lot of people will tell you no, but you need to remember that there are other people who will tell you yes. And everybody has a job that's meant for them, and you will find yours. Yes. If you have 10 no's, you can also have 10 yeses. So don't get discouraged, okay? This is a quick one, and if it's the first time you've seen of my videos, hello, my name is Lulu, and I talk about my experiences, especially working 9 to 5, what I'll tell my younger self, and everything in between. And if you found this video helpful, you found this video you can relate, let me know what you've experienced at work in your own time, as you know, unconscious or conscious bias, and how you can fight it, and how you can, just encourage somebody watching. Yeah, if you found this helpful, give us a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.